We are live, and because I'm not doing a drama video, there's going to be like 10 people watching this. Just honestly. So if you weren't here for the last video, I announced that I'm probably not going to be doing many of those videos anymore, where I'm talking about a particular person. I will definitely be talking about a lot of concepts because the concepts are wrong. But I'm so like I can't get myself to do it. I don't want to. Right? I don't want to talk about Alexander Rodriguez anymore. I don't want to talk about these fucking losers anymore. And I'm sorry, but like me calling them losers is just my opinion. But if you can't see that these people are using their gluttony for views, and then somehow the people that follow them are accepting of it, the best way to get these people off the air is to not watch their shit. Like a huge portion of what happens with these people is that they get hate watched, and I'm not going to add to that anymore. I'm just not going to. Now, don't get me wrong. If it is a more societally pressing thing, like it's a concept or something like that, I will probably talk about it. But picking apart the individual videos of these people has become an exercise in futility, because very honestly, the people that follow that person are not going to be woken up by saying the things that are true, right? Like Alexandra Rodriguez is clearly a food addict. Clearly, she is choosing food over her child. I will say it 100 times. It's always true, because if not, she would already be at a healthy weight. She didn't even want to lose weight to get pregnant. It's sad, right? She had a blood clot not too long ago and didn't lose the weight, or is just losing it kind of slow, whatever. I hope she loses the weight. That's my thing. I hope she does lose the weight. I hope all of her audience loses the weight, all of it. But I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not talking about Amberlynn Reed no more. I'm just not. Now, if it's somebody famous saying stupid stuff like Lizzo, I probably will, because very honestly, that's a huge audience, and I'll just point out the things that they said wrong. But if it's like, this person ate this today, of course they ate something stupid. They're a food addict, and they're normally addicted to ultra-processed foods, which many of them are. Many of them are addicted to ultra-processed foods, and that is the topic of this video today, because you should ditch ultra-processed foods. You should absolutely get your percentage of ultra-processed foods of your total daily calories under 20%, and I'm about to go over why. And sooner or later, there's going to be a tool out there that will help you find out what the percentage of ultra-processed foods you're taking in a day. I have a very strong idea that there's going to be. So I just want to go over a few things today, right? This is my take on ultra-processed foods. And this is a long take, so please do sit back. And this is only an abbreviated version of it, by the way. This is very, 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 very low in the information that is out there on ultra-processed foods. I just felt that this was the bullet point stuff from the years of research I've done on this, literally years of research. In the book Hunger Free and Happy, there's an entire section on this. In all of my stuff, I talk about avoiding ultra-processed foods as if they're only for pleasure. I personally take in somewhere around 5 to 10% of my total weekly calories in ultra-processed food, and it normally comes from like one indulgence. And honestly, it's normally, and I count this anyway, it's normally homemade pizza crust or something like that I make myself. We have not store-bought bread in fucking years, because if we're going to make bread, we're going to make it. If we're going to have bread, we're going to make it. And honestly, we don't eat it when we're out. And we've eaten, like when I go out, I normally eat very seriously, like the health food that is at a restaurant, because I'm not going to poison myself as much as humanly possible. I used to eat 10 McDoubles at a sitting. That shit doesn't even fucking degrade. McDonald's hamburger buns do not degrade. They do not decompose. And I put a lot of that shit in my body. I'm going to make sure I'm around for a long goddamn time, because my gorgeous wife deserves it. Anyway, the definition of an ultra-processed food is per the NOVA classification. And the NOVA classification is the scale that most foods are done on. And I think it's pretty good. I would change a few things, and I have some ideas, and that I'm going to put into practical application in a little while. But there are industry formulations with additives high in sugar, fat, salt, and low in nutrients. Think processed meats, sugary drinks, packaged snacks, anything with flour in it, anything with added sugar in it. Anything with flour and anything with added sugar. Added sugar is ultra-processed, and it's addictive. And these ultra-processed foods, they're literally engineered to be addictive. They are engineered to come to the bliss point, which is wild that we know this. Everybody knows that. And yet we're not thinking that over half the population at least has some sort of ultra-processed food or sugar addiction. It's kind of crazy. But An umbrella of over 45 meta-analyses with 9.9 million participants. Higher UPF intake linked to 32 adverse outcomes, including a 21% higher all-cause mortality, 50% higher cardiovascular disease mortality, 66% higher heart disease mortality, 40% higher type 2 diabetes, 55% higher obesity, 23% higher colorectal cancer, 22% higher depression. Doctors, why are you doctors prescribing, especially just general practitioners who receive no mental health training, by the way, and no nutrition training? They just prescribe SSRIs. And 48% higher anxiety. 48% higher anxiety. Think about that. A systemic review of a meta-analysis of 207,291 participants, highest versus low, was had another thing of another 21% of all-cause mortality. A Sun cohort with 19,899 participants in a 10-year follow-up, the highest quartile, more than 4 servings a day, which, by the way, 4 servings a day is about 7 lower than what the USDA tells you to eat, because the USDA would want you to eat 7 to 11 of them servings a day of ultra-processed foods, of grains and shit. But versus the lowest, linked to a 62% higher all-cause mortality. So somebody like me, who doesn't take in a lot of ultra-processed food compared to somebody that takes in the normal American dose of ultra-processed food, they are multiple times more likely to die than me because they abuse themselves. The Pure study with 138,076 participants and a 10-year follow-up had high ultra-processed food linked to elevated cardiovascular disease and mortality risks. Here's one that I found very interesting, by the way. This is the ELSA Brazil cohort. It has 10,775 participants, and it had an 8-year follow-up. The 8-year follow-up was mean. The actual 6 to 10-year follow-up was real. The 8-year is a mean average. And I've read this study countless times, so I don't even really need to look at my notes. But the UPF intake of above 19.9% of total daily energy was associated with 28% faster global cognitive decline and a 25% faster executive function decline with no memory impact. However, a systemic review of the meta-analysis observed studies, high versus low UPF intake, was linked to a 44% higher cases of dementia risk. So this food you're eating is making you stupid and giving you dementia. Pretty... it sounds like something that I think people would want to, minimize in their life. Crazy. A prospective study shows that 10% increases in UPF intake are often associated with 13% higher risk in Alzheimer's. So for every 10% you take in, you have a 13% higher risk. So if you take in 60%, as most Americans do, you are looking at a 78% increased risk of Alzheimer's. Good job. A cross-sectional study of 265 young adults, which is a very small study, which I held it in here because it trends linking high ultra-processed food to increased executive function difficulties, though not statistically significant, associated with sedentary behavior impacting conditions. So it can be also associated with sedentary behavior because it's a blood flow thing when it comes to cognitive abilities. You need to get your blood flowing. It's one of the reasons why you need to be active every single day. Appropriate fitness level activity, which means if you are only capable of walking a mile, walk that mile. If you are only capable of walking for 300 yards, walk that 300 yards and try to get one more step in every single day than you did before. Anyway, let's see the dosage response per 10% of ultra processed food energy intake, 4 to 5% higher all-cause mortality, 4 to 15, percent higher all-cause mortality, 12% higher type 2 diabetes, 7% higher obesity, 6% higher being overweight. So 7%. So say you have or 12% higher type 2 diabetes and you eat 60%. People. So for every 10%, that's 72 increased percent of type 2 diabetes. It's the food. It's the food that is doing it to you. It's the food that is making you sick. It's the food that is giving you type 2 diabetes. It is the food that is keeping you as a type 2 diabetic in most cases, because if you switch that around, you would become more insulin sensitive and you would get your ability to not have to take insulin and metformin in again. It is the food 100% of the time. Per average daily serving is an 18% higher all-cause mortality risk. Per 10% dietary share, a 3% higher premature mortality risk. Linear increases observed when risks elevating as UPFs exceed low levels, below 10 to 20% in healthier cohorts like Mediterranean diets, which is why I talk to our coaching clients and in the books and everywhere else that you're about to see, I talk about trying to keep it under 10%. 10%, you're in the under 10%, you're still considering the green. Between 10 and 20%, you're in the yellow. Over 20%, you're in the red. Most of you right now are over 60%. You just don't realize it. Most of you are over 60%. The U.S. average, which I think this is from years ago, is 55% of calories for the average person is ultra-processed food. 54.4% in adults 19 to 39 years of age. A global range, 10% in Italy. Has anybody ever wondered why Italy has the oldest population, just about, of especially European descent countries? It's because even though they smoke their asses off, which is big, that's why COVID hit them so hard. They have a high population of people that still smoke, and they have one of the oldest populations in the United States. You can tell the difference because Florida had a very, very, very high elderly population and was not hit nearly as hard as Italy was because people don't smoke at the same rate. And it's an upper respiratory virus. Duh. But 10% in Italy to 58% in lower middle income countries in the U.S. and in low middle income countries, it's 16 to 30. So think about that. In low countries, in countries where people claim that they're poor, which they are compared to America. In our country, being poor means you normally are at the higher end of the spectrum or over it. You're normally over the average. You're normally in the 68 to 70 percentile range of eating ultra-processed foods. The risk combines with are linear, and this is why I tell everybody, keep your ultra-processed food ingestion as low as humanly possible. Let's see. Would PB2 powder count as ultra-processed? It absolutely would. It absolutely, unless it is just freeze dried, unless it's just literally, unless it is freeze dried peanuts that are just then powdered. If the only ingredient is just peanut and they're freeze dried and ground, then I would say it's fine. But if not, if there's any other ingredients, yes, it's ultra processed. 100%. In the South, vegetables have been awful this season, and the groceries putting out rotten. We try to grow most of our own. Let's see. Bad Banana Wizard. Okay. Ultra-processed foods are so expensive compared to real food. Absolutely, they are. Well, if it says only peanuts and salt, it might be just peanuts and salt. I would look into the processing of what they did to make it that way. That's for sure. There are scientific industry jobs just to figure out ways to make us reach that bliss point in foods. Exactly. You're called a food scientist. Food scientists should also be called, we should just call them a Mengele scientist, because that is a ridiculously horrible experiment to perform on people. It's amazing to me. So, but anyway, folks, I will take some Q&A for about a couple minutes here. I wanted to tell everybody here, whoop, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That would have given away a big secret. I almost boo-booed. All right. Here's where you can get our coaching, by the way. Daily communication, weekly video conferences. This price is going to change and get much, much, much higher. This is $249.99 for the 6 months in this holiday season for new clients. And there is a special deal for clients for people on the app. If you're already on the app and you want to check it out, check it out. But this price will be going away forever soon for a very good reason that I'm going to share with you before too long. But these prices are going to go away. It's not that we're not stopping coaching, but we are going to, we're offering anybody to get in now, and we are offering for people that are already coaching or already on the app to take advantage. But this price is going away. This is 6 months. It'll help you get you through the holiday season, teach you healthy habits. Most people that took us up on this offer last year, they lost weight over the holidays, developed healthier habits, and then they lost the rest of the weight they needed to lose within the course of the next year. Because once you get through the holidays and realize that you can build healthy habits through the holidays and still enjoy the holidays, because we focus on satiation, satisfaction, appropriate fitness level activity, eating whole foods for the majority, still planning an indulgence so it doesn't throw you off your rocker, controlling your binge eating if you have it, controlling your cravings. We focus on those sorts of things. It is not some extreme workout or anything like that. It is way that we are developing for people, and we have developed for people, for them to control their own habits. You should be able to grow your own stuff. It's crazy. We grow a lot of our own stuff. Crystal's doing amazing with our garden. Mad scientists because they make frankenfoods. Yep, exactly. Let's see. Jack, do you think that ultra-processed food companies pushing protein junk food is helping or hurting the average American relationship with food? Talking about protein Pop-Tarts, chips, that's absolutely hurting. Very good question, though, Jack. Thank you very much. It's absolutely hurting the population because it's still ultra-processed. And very honestly, it still has emulsifiers, shelf stabilizers, those sorts of things, endocrine disruptors. Many of these things are carcinogenic, and they mess with your metabolic rate anyway. And most of them cause systemic inflammation, which then turns into neuroinflammation. And again, they're ultra-processed. But even protein Pop-Tarts, it still has the flavor of sweet. And most of the time, it still has added sugar. And even if it doesn't have added sugar, it's still the flavor of sweet. And really, the only sweeteners like that don't have a glycemic response, or at least a massive one, monk fruit sweetener, which is amazing. So yes, while I still personally ingest some Nula bars, on occasion, like maybe once or twice a week, I view them as part of the ultra processed food, or at least a processed food, because they are. UPF is the devil. It makes people hungrier and often a little or no satiety. Exactly. People just keep eating and eating and eating and eating. It's fucking horrible. And notice how YouTube really does not announce this to anybody, by the way. Like when you're not doing drama and you're just talking about, things to help people, that will get suppressed very quickly. No garden or backyard flocks allowed where I used to live. To be rural now, it's just public housing everywhere. Jeez, they should at least have a public garden then, at the very, very least. So, all right, folks, I'm going to run. I'm going to go. I have some chili made up. I'm going to go make some food for the wife and I. I haven't eaten yet today, but I got to get a little bit more water in me before I eat. And then I'm going to go. I might be back this evening. I might not. I don't know. But if not, I will be back tomorrow, and I will be sharing some more insights as to try to get people healthy and happy, because you want to be hunger-free and happy. That's how you want to go through life. And you're not going to do that by being dehydrated and eating a bunch of ultra-processed foods. That I can guarantee. So my name is Alan Roberts. Please check me out. Please subscribe. Put the notification bells on. God damn.